the 77-year-old pop star took action against BBC bosses over coverage of a police raid on his home back in 2014. The judge said the BBC had infringed Sir Cliff's privacy rights in a serious and sensationalist way. Sir Cliff was awarded £210,000 damage for the general effect on his life and is also entitled to recover further sums for the financial impact, which will be decided at a later date. "I can't believe it." He broke down in tears after the ruling and said, "I'm choked up. It's wonderful news." The South Yorkshire police investigation followed allegations made by a man the year before accusing the singer of a historic offence. The BBC broadcast footage of the raid, which the summer holiday hitmaker told the judge was a very serious invasion of his privacy. Sir Cliff denied the allegations and was never arrested or charged. The judge's summary said the main area of disputed fact in the case revolved around dealings between the BBC and South Yorkshire Police in July 2014. It said the BBC's case claimed police volunteered information about the raid, whereas the force and Sir Cliff said the police were maneuvered into providing it from a fear and implicit threat that the BBC would or might publish news of the investigation before the police were ready to conduct their search. The judge accepted Sir Cliff's case, saying, "I have found that site did not merely volunteer the material for its own purposes. It provided it because of a concern that if it did do so there would be a prior publication by the BBC, a concern known to be probably fostered by the BBC's reporter, Mr. Dan Johnson." The BBC have since released a statement, saying they are looking at an appeal. "We are sorry for the distress that Sir Cliff has been through. We understand the very serious impact that this has had on him," the statement said. "We have thought long and hard about how we covered the story. On reflection, there are things we would have done differently. However, the judge has ruled that the very naming of Sir Cliff was unlawful. So even had the BBC not used helicopter shots or ran the story with less prominence, the judge would still have found that the story was unlawful, despite ruling that what we broadcast about the search was accurate." This judgment creates new case law and represents a dramatic shift against press freedom and the long-standing ability of journalists to report on police investigations, which in some cases has led to further complaints coming forward. This impacts not just the BBC, but every media organization. This isn't just about reporting on individuals. It means police investigations, in searches of people's homes, could go unreported and unscrutinized. It will make it harder to scrutinize the conduct of the police, and we fear it will undermine the wider principle of the public's right to know. It will put decision-making in the hands of the police. We don't believe this is compatible with liberty and press freedoms, something that has been at the heart of this country for generations. For all of these reasons, that is why the BBC is looking at an appeal. There is a significant principle at stake. The BBC said they reported Sir Cliff's full denial of the allegations at every stage. The judge oversaw a trial at the High Court in London during April and May. They also said the coverage was accurate and in good faith. Sir Cliff said he suffered profound and long-lasting damage as a result of the coverage. On his second day in court, he broke down as he spoke about the effect it had on his reputation. "My health suffered, both mentally and physically," he said. "At one point, I actually thought I was going to have a heart attack or stroke." Getting choked up, he listed the number of countries where he claimed his reputation was damaged, telling the court, "Everywhere I have ever been, I felt my name was smeared. The police didn't do that, the BBC did. I felt as though everything I had worked for in my life, trying to live as honestly and honorably as I could, was being torn apart." Meanwhile, lawyers representing the BBC told the judge the raid was a matter of public interest and covering it contributed to public debate. The allegation was made by a man to the Metropolitan Police in 2013 before being passed on to the South Yorkshire Police the following year. Sir Cliff originally sued the BBC and the South Yorkshire Police. The raid occurred in August 2014. The judge heard the force had agreed to pay £400,000 to the singer after settling the claim. The South Yorkshire Police, who conducted the raid, apologized to the star wholeheartedly for the additional anxiety caused by their initial handling of the media interest in the investigation.